What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of In This Very Ring. We are live right here on A2D Radio. We've got the man, Butters.
Woohoo!
I'm Ritz. Woohoo. I'm Ritz. We are brought to you by our doc, Make 'em Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Check him out on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Our poll question today brought to you by Ambuck Services. They are your leading experts in deck restoration and gutter guard cleaning. Breaking, God, I love it. Our topic of conversation today: Otis is the best thing. Otis winning Money in the Bank was the best thing for SmackDown. But before we get to that, Butters, man, it's been 1 week since we've heard from you. What's going on in your world?
Same old work.
Great update. Thanks.
Hey.
How exciting your life must be.
Very exciting, 12 plus hours a day, working at the Coca-Cola factory. I'm done.
But so guys, on topic for today, we're going to jump into Otis winning Money in the Bank in just a few moments. After we do that, we're going to talk about Becky Lynch and her update this past week on Monday Night Raw, her announcement. And a little bit later, we're going to do a deep dive into Undertaker, The Last Ride, Chapter 1, with Part 2 coming out tomorrow. And last week was Chapter 1 right after Money in the Bank. We're going to talk about the historic, the unprecedented, the never-before-seen Undertaker career being documented and really get into that. So tell me about it, Butters. What do you think about Otis winning Money in the Bank, and was it the best thing for SmackDown?
Oh, baby. No.
Oh, my.
Otis winning was great. I mean, the way he won was it was priceless. It was interesting. We've seen championship tumbles, from a ladder match. Oh, cool. Championships fell. Somebody grab it. Oh, cool. I'm the champ. Never have we seen this with a Money in the Bank match. So, obviously interesting. I was honestly surprised they said, hey, yes, it was Otis because he had full, complete control. I mean, what is this, football now? But yes, it's great for SmackDown because it gives SmackDown something new. I don't know where this is going to take Tucker with it because we didn't see him this week. So it ought to be interesting to see what they give us that's new, what they don't.
See, and I think Otis winning is the absolute best thing ever. Gulak got fired.
Hold the phone. I'm about to look this up.
Yeah, Andy, I was going to mention that to you. Yeah, that's not fake news.
When did that happen? I've been at work all day.
It happened sometime in the last, I would say, hour. At least that's when I became aware of it. So, surprise.
Oh, well, that's lovely. Damn, that kind of threw me all off. Here we go. There it is, right there. Drew Gulak released from WWE.
Hold on, I also have something else. Keep doing your thing.
So, Pro Wrestling Sheets has confirmed Drew Gulak has parted with the WWE. His exit was speculated on this afternoon when his profile was moved to the alumni section. It hasn't been publicly announced, but sources within the company say his contract expired. He was not released.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting right now. It says there are ongoing negotiations between him and WWE to try and re-sign. But they haven't come to a deal at this time.
All right, well, I'll take that. I'll take that they haven't come to a deal yet. There's still hope. There's still hope, damn it.
He's got it going good right now with this Daniel Bryan thing. So
yeah, I'm okay with, and Ted, it's totally fine. I'd rather you have brought it up because we probably would have never talked about it because, like I said, I didn't know.
I didn't know till just now myself, so yeah.
Yeah, and I see Ted dropped another comment. His Twitter seems like he's gone. And I think you have to start playing that up just in the off chance that the contracts, they don't re-sign him. right? He may not want to come back. Yeah, he's got something going good with Daniel Bryan right now, but he's been with the company for a while. He got his feet wet. It may be time, and he was with Daniel Bryan in some high profile stuff towards the end. The last half of his career with the WWE is going to be great, considered great because of what he was doing with Daniel Bryan.
Mhm.
So that's how you want to hold. That's how you want to leave on a high note. Obviously, he went out on his back, as he should, as anybody should. But it leaves him an opportunity to say, hey, the last thing I did with WWE was this great promo, this great storyline with Daniel Bryan and all the work we did there. And it has elevated himself. So if WWE is willing to pay to keep him, great. I'd love to see this stuff continue. But if not, he's got a lot of doors that are open. AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor.
Sean Waltman pretty much said in a tweet, that any promotion would love to have Gulak. So
Exactly. So back to Otis, though. Let's keep this train rolling with Otis, right? I think Otis winning Money in the Bank is absolutely perfect. We've taken somebody who hasn't been in the title picture. We've elevated them, right? Obviously, Otis was already on that upward incline with the whole Mandy Rose storyline and how people were getting behind them so much, right? And more Otis than necessarily Tucker. And obviously that could be a bad thing for Tucker, right?
Yeah.
Tucker could kind of shift off into obscurity. They could split up Heavy Machinery. But as you saw with Friday night, Otis tagged with Braun Strowman, right? And then they had that little tease at the end where, is he going to cash in? He put it down kind of thing, right? Was he going to do the cash in? It makes for a lot of fun things. Tie that in with Mandy Rose. And there's literally this man. Tell me I'm wrong. I want somebody to tell me I'm wrong. Otis is like him having the briefcase and having Mandy Rose makes him more valuable than Braun Strowman having the title. Like that means more than having the title in my eyes. You have a briefcase that you won just because you caught it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And you have Mandy Rose. And be serious about it, Greg. What else could you possibly want?
I mean, nobody else could have taken this, Money in the Bank this year and run with it the way Otis is going to be able to run with it, especially right now with all the, the COVID-19 stuff going on, empty arenas. At least we're going to get something funny, hilarious out of it. I want something good on TV. I want something, that's going to catch my eye. And right now, anything with Otis right now is just catching me.
Right. It's the Otis is the best thing going today. We talked about it this past Thursday night on Lazy Booking. Otis is a champion of the empty arena era, just like Asuka is for Raw. And so go ahead.
Yeah, they're both taking, they're both taking their personalities and running with it the empty arena thing, because Asuka just doing her thing on Raw, and like you said, Otis on SmackDown. I mean, it's just
and Daly says Brian Daly from the Hockey Happy Hour. You guys can check them out. Actually, programming alert. Normally, you can check out the Hockey Happy Hour at about 10 o'clock on Thursdays, right after Lazy Booking. But this week, the Hockey Happy Hour will go on about 6:30, 7 o'clock. They're going to be the early show on Thursday because at the 9:30 Eastern Standard Time hour, Lazy Booking will be welcoming the former WWE Intercontinental Champion, an MMA legend, a TNA Hall of Fame inductee in the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. Yes, thank you, Brodo, for dropping the graphic in there. And by the way, guys, we do have Mr. Ryan Brodo hanging out with us backstage, running everything for us. As you can see, he pops in with the Undertaker gag. But yeah, so check out Lazy Booking this Thursday, 9:30 Eastern, for their interview with Ken Shamrock. Back to business. The match between Braun Strowman and Otis would be fantastic. It'd be two very different dynamics. and having Braun's kind of more, I don't want to say serious, but he's a powerhouse, right?
Yeah.
While Otis, yes, he's a powerhouse. He's got a different goofy style to him that
He's
can
a fun
complement. Yeah, he's a fun powerhouse. Exactly. He complements.
So in a sense, he's a fun house. And that's my bad joke of the day. So keep going.
You hurt my soul. So, oh God. Okay, Daniel. Back to your comment. Did you hear? Oh, son of a! How did this come up? I didn't even say it. I hate you, Ryan. So, Daniel posted the comment. Did you hear about Drew Gulak's release? Yes, Daniel. We actually just talked about it very, very briefly. You can go back either on YouTube. You can rewind because we're live on YouTube right now, as well as Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. But if you want to catch the part of the show that you did miss, we'll be up on Apple Podcasts, Speaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, all those fun podcasting sources tomorrow afternoon. Prism chimes in from over there on YouTube. It's got to end with Otis' luck running out and him having one bad day where he loses his attempt at the cash-in, his tag team partner, and Mandy Rose. No. Prism, look. I don't think Otis will win the world title. Okay? I at this stage, I don't see it happening. I wouldn't hate it, but I don't see it happening. But you can't give me a one bad day storyline for Otis where he loses everything. That would destroy my soul. That would make me and I say that because I've invested so much into Otis in the sense of I've gotten behind the character. I've gotten behind what he does in the ring, what he does outside of the ring. I've really put a lot of investment into this. And to see it pay off where he ends up just falling flat on his face, that's not how I want this storyline to end. I don't necessarily want to see him not win the title, but at this stage of the story, I don't see a need for him to. You can take this Money in the Bank briefcase and let it ride. Let it ride. Let him have that big, huge moment. Otis will lose the briefcase, Mandy Rose, and ultimately turn into the 2020 version of Festus. Oh, God. Ryan, what are you thinking?
God, no! Leave the man. Don't give us Festus again, dear Jesus.
That don't get me wrong. I agree with part of what Brodo says. There is a very good possibility that Otis will drop the briefcase to somebody else. Very, very big possibility. Mandy Rose is a variable. How long do they keep this running? How long do somebody hit the ring bell? Oh, Jesus God. How long does the Mandy Rose thing keep playing? How long can you actually let that ride out where it doesn't get boring or overplayed? But the Festus was horrible.
Oh yeah, Festus
was just so bad it wasn't even fun. It was really dumb. I mean, Biscuits and Gravy as a theme song.
Hey, that's a good theme song.
Of course, you thought it was a good theme song. Of course. I'm sorry, you want to try that again?
I said, only because it said Biscuits and Gravy. I love Biscuits and Gravy.
Fatty. Ted over there on Twitch. Is this story going to end with Otis beating Triple H at Mania, then beating Braun and Corbin in a triple threat for the Universal title in a briefcase? So did Ted just take the Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 storyline and combine it with what happened over on Raw with Asuka and the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase and throw it at WrestleMania 36?
Yep.
I don't hate it. It'll never happen, but I don't hate it. I mean, dumber stuff has happened. I've watched dumber things. I mean, so have you. I've had conversations with you.
Logic we're talking about, boys and girls.
Oh yeah, WWE Logic is just the best thing ever. Let me tell you. So let's dive into Money in the Bank. Let's kind of go through each match. There wasn't a whole lot to take away from this show, except for the actual Money in the Bank matches that happened at the end of the show. we start off, if you take out the Money in the Bank matches, we start off with what, in my opinion, stole the show. The tag team match between the New Day, the Forgotten Sons, Miz and Morrison, and the Lucha House Party. They go for 12 minutes in a fatal four-way tag team match for the SmackDown tag titles, which sees champions Big E and Kofi Kingston retain the titles.
I was a little shocked at that one.
I was too. We had said going into Money in the Bank that the Forgotten Sons, I forgot their name, oddly enough, the Forgotten Sons were poised to win the titles. So my question, though, for you butters, are they holding off on a lot of these titles changing hands until we get crowds back?
I think so. I honestly think that's exactly where they're going with this. They want the crowd reaction. They want the pop. They want that noise to know that they made the right decision. They made the wrong decision, or that they don't care what decision they made. They just want the crowd noise in there.
Prism chiming back in. Have him lose in a sympathetic fashion. He goes from one bad day to one determined MFer. Let him go out and kick ass, take names, and earn it back instead of being lucky. Okay, I could see that playing out. Kind of he hits rock bottom, works his way back up kind of storyline. I don't hate that.
I mean, that's a lot better than just, one bad day, lose it all, and stay in one bad day. So, yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm totally okay with that.
But back to your point of these, championship title changes, I can see it. I can see them holding off till we get crowds back. But that could be a long time. That could mean some long title reigns.
Yeah, it could. It very well could. I don't know if if some of these title reigns deserve to be long title reigns, if that's the case.
No.
Because we don't know when we're going to get back to full arenas. That's why Shayna didn't win, at WrestleMania, is because they want her to have that pop. Drew winning made sense because Brock Lesnar can't hold the title, and you can't not have the title be seen during times like these.
Don't get me started on the Brock and titles and keeping them.
Oh, no. Please, go ahead.
We'll talk about that later with the whole SmackDown IC title situation. Let's just keep going with Money in the Bank.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so I thought that the Forgotten Sons were poised to win here. And to have them not, it's Jake Friel chimes in. What's up, boys? I absolutely agree to the poll. You gotta love Otis. Yeah, Jake, absolutely right. Like I said, guys, don't forget to check out Jake on the Weekly Roundup every Saturday. They bring you all the best news and sports, as we do with every show here at HUD Radio. But the Weekly Roundup is one of those shows that just kind of touches on everything. But no, absolutely, the Forgotten Sons were poised to take the titles here. And then, even though they don't, they still set them up well on SmackDown. They have that wonderful promo.
I was going to say that, it's an all-around, it was an all-around great match in general. Even the Lucha House Party was doing really good in this match. And
oh, yeah, 100%. They brought...
So, I mean, overall, like I said, this match, grand.
Absolutely. They brought a totally different dynamic to the match that you really don't see a whole lot anymore when the Usos if it's not the Usos and the New Day.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next match on the card. So it was supposed to be R-Truth versus MVP. It ends up being R-Truth versus Bobby Lashley. It ends up with me adding another minute and 40 seconds of the time of my life that WWE owes me for stupid bullshit. So far, for those of you keeping count at home, we're up to 36 hours, 25 minutes, 17 seconds. That's just this year. Okay?
I don't understand the logic behind this match. Is it just to get Lashley out there to keep him relevant, or is it?
Dude, I don't know. It made no sense. I mean, you and I watched it together. We had a watch party going on with Chrome, and Mr. Brodo was there as well, and none of us knew what happened.
Are we just setting up for Bobby Lashley to take on Drew McIntyre for the title? Just a building up Lashley.
Boo. No, I don't want it. And you can't say that because it continues the next night on Raw. Next night on Raw, Bobby Lashley comes out and destroys R-Truth for no reason. Like, this is literally coming out of nowhere. I could understand if Truth said something about Lana. I could understand if Truth said something about Lashley. I could understand any of it. But nothing happened. Like,
unless they're talking about this whole, because they also had this whole MVP setting up, possibly, teaming up with Lashley, bid or managing Lashley, and because MVP's got this little brawl with R-Truth. I mean, who knows?
I go back to over what?
This is true.
Like, unless this is going to sound dumb, and I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but unless this is here to set up R-Truth going on a hunt for Rob Gronkowski, because that's what the promo on Raw said, even though he called Rob Tom Brady, and God, that could be really weird. I'd love it. I think I'd love it, but if this was all to build up R-Truth as he needs to go find the 24/7 title because he's lost without it, what the hell? Wait, no. Put that back on the screen. What was that? That's amazing. Wait, was that Ralph in there too? Someone has way too much time on their hands. I love it, Ryan.
Yeah.
God, please don't let that ever happen. And we went to that for some reason. Okay. Guys, it's apparently the graphics show. So
gonna get very graphic tonight, boys and girls.
Prism chiming back in. Killings defeated Shamrock for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at NWA TNA 8 on August 7th, thus becoming the first ever and to date. I don't know what he means there. Thus becoming the first ever and to date. Shamrock helped make wrestling history.
I think he meant to say he became the first African American to hold the NWA title.
Oh, okay. It helps if I read properly. For the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's what he meant to say.
Okay, but that still doesn't. I mean, and that's great, right? That's something. Prism, save that comment. Come back on Thursday and bring that for lazy booking and bring that up, right? But that still doesn't explain why Lashley's going after Truth.
I got it.
Oh shit.
WWE Go ahead. Logic, that's it. WWE logic, that's it.
You got excited for that? Bro.
No, I didn't get excited. I'm just saying that's the only answer anymore.
How the hell did we spend more time talking about this match than the match actually happened? Like, we probably spent a good 5 minutes on the match, and the match barely lasted 2. Okay, moving on. Bayley defeated Tamina with the help of Sasha Banks. Weird as shit.
Again, confusing about the ending. I mean, there wasn't even a hint towards Sasha getting pissed off at Bayley or Bayley getting, all this setup is for Bayley to do the same shit she's done for the past X amount of months.
It makes 0 sense. Like,
again, this all stems towards, you could be right. They could just be waiting on fans to get into the arena before they change titles. We could see one hell of a massive title change in one night, say Night of Champions, if all the crowds could come back.
Yeah, if they all came back for Night of Champions, that would be something. Okay, David. Congrats. Great. Cool. This was the point where you turned Sasha, though, to your point, right? This was the point where Sasha should have turned on Bayley, cost her the match, and let Tamina have the championship. Put the strap on somebody new, right? And now we start this because I think the Bayley Sasha dynamic, that feud, would work so well in an empty arena. Right? Go back to Champ. Go ahead.
I mean, you could see them slowly dropping dropping little hints, dropping the little clues, with these interviews with Bayley and, all these interviews they do with Bayley and Sasha and Bayley kicking in and trying to talk over, try to answer for Sasha. And you can see Sasha's face going, what the hell? I could have answered that myself.
Yeah, it's really dumb. In my opinion, it really is. They should have had not Becky, damn it. Sorry, I was reading something on Becky. They should have had Sasha turn on Bayley here. I just said it, I'm going to stress it again. Empty arena feud, just like they did with Gargano and Ciampa, just like they've been doing with all these other people. Edge and Orton had their match. You could give these two a cinematic match, whether it be in an empty arena or it be somewhere else, and really tear it down. These two are perfect for it.
And this is the point where they don't need the title to feud. You can give that title title feud to two other people and set Sasha and Bayley over here and let them just burn it down.
Yeah, for sure. It had all the makings of the right time to do it. And it sucks for Tamina, right? Tamina does. I said it on our show. I said it on Lazy Booking last week. That Tamina should have won the title. Poe from Hockey Happy Hour chime in. I don't know what Ritz said, but he's probably wrong. Okay, Poe. Let me explain this to you, sir. I'm very rarely wrong. Let me phrase that. No. Let me back up. Let me rephrase. I am wrong less times than you are. Okay? I'll come up with something better for Poe in a little bit. I don't have the mental capacity to deal with that much stupidity right now.
Do you have the mental capacity, period? I can't even.
Yeah, I do. Hey, man, it's been a long day. That was without taking a personal mean shot. That was the best I had. That was the safest thing I had, and the nicest thing I had. Because I'm like, I've had such a day today, such a week, that where I feel like if I took a shot at somebody, I would just be mean. I would be so mean, and that's not fair. Excuses. Shut up, Ryan. No, I feel bad for Tamina. This was one of her first opportunities at the title.
And she put a great match too.
She did. She's been putting on a great promo. They gave her an opportunity. She took it and she ran with it. I think some of these people that wouldn't have shined when the crowd was there because the crowd just isn't behind them are getting an opportunity to flourish without, the crowd sitting there booing them or not being interested and themselves losing that confidence.
And this is where we see how toxic these fans can truly be sometimes. Because they're not giving these superstars a shot to show us what we got. And then here we are in these empty arenas. They're showing us what they got. And, it's every day. Loving it.
Absolutely. So real quick, I jumped into my watch party. And I've got Edie Zahari chiming in saying, the hacker will show the truth about Sasha Banks and Bayley someday near SummerSlam. However, the hacker probably won't show their face until the crowd comes back. And then Steven chiming in, is that going to bring fans in, though? Honestly, is an Otis run sustainable or interesting long term? So to touch on Steven's comment, I do think it can be interesting. I think it gives them more things to do than it would if Baron Corbin won it, because I wouldn't have cared. Alistair would be a different dynamic, but I don't think Raw needs it. I think SmackDown needs that other element, that other layer to themselves right now. Because
Raw's got everything they need right now for their world title picture. They don't need a Money in the Bank to kind of amp it up.
And they have layers of different stars that they could put in there and fill those voids. With the limited rosters that you're working with right now, you don't have Roman over there. You're not putting Cesaro in that picture. Daniel Bryan's more focused on the IC title right now.
I don't think they're focused on not putting Cesaro anywhere.
Say that again? You cut out.
I said, I don't understand their focus of not putting Cesaro anywhere because Cesaro is a great performer.
Exactly. But, I mean, hold on. I have it here. Cesaro is in that Intercontinental. No, he's not. He's not even in the damn Intercontinental title picture. What are we doing? He had a great match with Hardy on the pre-show.
Yeah, the pre-show of all things.
But Hardy's in the Intercontinental Championship tournament against Sheamus, who has been calling him out. But what? Where's Cesaro in all of this?
Relegated to waiter in the back. I mean, when they get the food in, what is he gonna? I mean, shit.
You'll find Cesaro in catering, ladies and gentlemen.
He'll be the one handing the food to everybody.
Oof.
Because I feel like that's all they're going to relegate him to anymore. He was great in the tag team with Sheamus. He was with the Bar. He was
the bar.
He was good as a U.S. champion. His talent is freaking through the roof, and they waste him every single day.
Yeah, they are definitely wasting Cesaro's talent right now.
I mean,
yeah, and Go ahead.
And look at the Intercontinental. Look at this title series bracket. Whatever you look at, it's all SmackDown stars except for AJ Styles.
Which let's talk. So we're gonna get back to Money in the Bank for a minute, but because you brought it up, and then I mentioned Corbin already. No. Actually, hold on. Remember that thought. Remember the AJ Styles part of the Intercontinental tournament and Baron Corbin. We're going to talk about all that here in a moment. We got to get back to Money in the Bank, though. Where are we? Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt. I think this was the next best match.
It was really good, yes.
I think
we did get a crowd in this one, though.
Proto, cue the face. Proto, help. There we go. Yeah, that face.
Hey, I don't care.
They're puppets. Like, I'm cool. All right, face can go away. I like that better than the overlay, honestly. Yeah.
I still just say it. At least we got somewhat of a crowd, even if they are puppets. Damn it.
Look, I like the puppets. I thought it. Wow. Damn.
It made sense for this match for the puppets to be out there because it's the Funhouse puppets with Bray Wyatt out there.
Right. No, and I get it, right? And again, it makes sense. But to call it a crowd, Pove chiming in, okay, for the record, Ritz is wrong 3 out of 50 times while I'm wrong 5 out of 50. I'll take those numbers. And then Chef chiming in, love the backgrounds. Yeah, of course you would. Of course, the one time he's watching, that's when, oh, thanks. Thanks so much. Keep them coming. No, I think this was the next best match on the card. It told the best story from start to finish, especially with them touching on the Braun Strowman actually being a member of the Wyatt family. And they brought that mask back. I think the mask was, like, when you talk about matches and moments in the show, like in the Performance Center, that was the best moment.
Yeah,
with
putting
the mask.
on. I was gonna say putting the mask on, making him think I'm back, and then destroying it. I mean, it was just perfect.
Bite me, Andrew.
The roast.
It's my buddy right there. Brodo say Nelson Aguilar is better than Corbin. I mean, anything's better than Corbin, though. I mean, it's like saying the Giants are better than Corbin. We're the Cowboys. That might get me thrown off the air. Huh?
I said, who's Nelson Aguilar?
Thank God this is a wrestling show. He's a wide receiver for the Eagles.
Okay.
Not anymore. He's not. Don't you dare, Andy.
Wait, hold on. What did I miss? Didn't you guys just cover this on Tuesday?
He's gone forever.
When did that happen?
The second the season ended.
And this is why I host a wrestling show.
Right?
That's why you never see me talking sports on any of the other shows. For this right here. At least I knew he once played for the Eagles, and I got the position right. Somebody give me credit.
By the way, I might make this your clip for tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm going to caption it. Here at A2D Radio, our wrestling guys are really good at wrestling talk. But they just figured out that Nelson Aguilar is on the Raiders.
Go away. Oh God, this is I'm getting my ass handed to me tonight. This sucks.
I mean, there is a lot of that to get handed to you.
Oh. God, I hate all of you right now. Just stop. This sucks. The mask. Come on. Bring it back. Bring it back here.
All right.
Oh, fuck. The mask was the best part.
Yes.
Them telling that story and then him kind of snapping out of it. Not snapping out of it, but it was just a play to get Bray to kind of lower his defenses. It was fantastic.
And I can see this setting up for...
keep going. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. Just keep talking.
I mean, this could be a good setup for, Braun versus The Fiend next. Because, yes, Bray, was trying to get him as Bray Wyatt, come back to the Wyatt family. And, well, since you don't want to do that, I'm going to unleash The Fiend on you, and let's hope this happens.
Right, and that could be a SummerSlam thing. That could definitely be something we see at SummerSlam.
That's next. I mean, he ain't got nothing going for him right now.
No, I don't think they're going to do that. If they would have started that setup, it would have been Friday night on SmackDown. Drew versus Seth. This one had a weird ending with the handshake there at the end, and then
I think that was more of a respect thing than it was anything else.
But it just doesn't fit the story.
It doesn't, and you would have more thought Seth would have walked away instead of handshaking.
Right, that would have been better.
With the way Seth's character's going, so I think at that point it was just more of a respect thing.
Maybe the Seth playing off on that the stoic kind of Seth Rollins Monday night was fantastic. It was perfect, but not a whole lot to take away. They go for 19 minutes 20 seconds, and it was great. It honestly wasn't any bad moments. It was a typical.
I was going to say, we didn't really have any bad matches on the show.
No, we didn't. Everything was just super predictable. Other than the Bobby Lashley R-Truth, which I still won't grant any more time because we spent way too much time talking about it. But Drew said it was great kind of cap to the action inside the Performance Center. And Drew still champ. Nobody really thought Drew was going to lose here. It didn't make sense for him to. Obviously, you see that coming in a few weeks down the road. Not a few weeks, a few months down the road. But Drew's going to be champion for a while. Okay.
I'd say the earliest he loses it would be SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think that's the earliest he loses it. If not, he could hold it for a while. Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. No, lose it and then win it back at WrestleMania again. Screw it.
That's like he's a good top card talent that could hold down a WrestleMania. I mean, he did good with Brock at WrestleMania, even as quick as it was. So,
yeah. Money in the Bank ladder match. You have Asuka, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Nia, and Shayna for the women. And for the men, you have Otis, AJ Styles, Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, King Corbin, and Rey Mysterio. The men start out in the gym while the women start out in the lobby. Well, Asuka starts off on the lobby second floor.
Made this match, the start of this match, amazing.
And Andrew chimes in, Drew's the fresh face champion we needed for a while. 100%. Having that title on Brock and not seeing the title around, and whether it's Brock or Seth or Roman or it was somebody different. Drew and Braun are two different champions that we haven't seen, so it's got a very different feel to the product right now.
And that's what you need every once in a while is a fresh run, a fresh face. Even if both champions are brand new, fresh faces, give everybody something fresh instead of the old stale.
Yeah. So back to Money in the Bank, Asuka, stole the show.
I was going to say that dive off the top into the women and then running to the elevator.
Oh, it was perfect.
It was great. The sell for the women to, be slow about getting to the elevator was a little way too obvious.
That's nit.
But that's just nitpicking. Other than that, I mean, it was.
Yeah, I definitely think you're nitpicking on that one. Andrew adds, can we imagine the Survivor Series match of Drew and Braun? Oh, God. Well, if they keep the same way, right now it'd be Drew, Braun, Adam Cole. Oh, now you like the match.
Well, yeah, it's NXT. It's Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, God. There's nothing wrong with a Drew Braun match.
It'd be Brock Lesnar versus Drew 2.0?
Not even close. You bite your tongue.
I like Braun, but I feel like it's big man versus little man match all over again.
Well, no, wait, stop, back up. How little do you think Drew is?
I'm not saying he's little. I'm just.
Oh, please, I want you to dig yourself out of this hole.
Sorry, I don't have Triple H's golden shovel. Can't dig anymore. All right.
Wow, that was bad. Like, even for you, that sucked.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Drew McIntyre... Here, let's look. Let's look this up. Drew McIntyre... Let's get some height on Drew here.
I think he's right at 6 feet.
Drew McIntyre is 6'5", you putz.
Oh, well, I was about 5 inches off. All right.
Let's find out what we've got for Braun Strowman.
7'2". I don't know.
I swear to God, if that's right, I'll die laughing. Braun Strowman is 6'8". There's 3 inches of difference. Can you tell me how it would be big man versus little man?
All right. It wouldn't be.
You're stupid.
This time around.
Most times. But anyway, so the best part of the men in the gym had to have been Corbin throwing that weight through the glass, through the wall.
Everybody's reaction.
It was fantastic. What I nitpicked from that moment, though, like you nitpicked with the women of, what'd you say?
I said, let me guess, the AJ Styles moment in there?
Yes!
I knew you were going to say it.
It was clear as day, man. Like, everything was going great. The women being slow to get up to the elevator. It didn't bother me. I didn't catch it till you said something. That didn't matter. But you put this weight on AJ, on being the operative word there. It's not even on him. He can shimmy out, roll the motherfucker. I mean, come on. How many times are you in a gym like that you can't figure out how to get out from underneath of that? Like, now, if it was Corbin or Otis to have a little bit more, weight to them, it's one thing. But then he looks at Ray. The smallest man in that match, and says, Ray, can you lift this off of me? Are you for real? Did you freeze? Oh, there you are. Okay. It was just dumb. It was just so dumb. But we go on, right? The women go up to the next floor, I believe it was. Hold on. The women begin in the lobby. So Ray's leaving the gym and he runs past the bathroom. And who shows up but Bruce Pritchard, dressed up as Brother Love?
Oh, so good.
I was dying laughing with that. Because he comes. Go ahead.
I was expecting when they passed the bathroom, somebody had said something about. I think somebody said something about something smelling. I was honestly half expecting, like, say, Rikishi to pop out, not Brother Love.
The Rikishi thing would have been weird. It makes sense because Bruce Pritchard works at Titan Tower.
Yeah,
like that's where his office. He's at an office there. You can't explain to me why Rikishi's there on a random Sunday. Now, why is Bruce Pritchard dressed up like Brother Love on a random Sunday? I have different questions for. I have so many different questions. And then Brian Black and Otis brought into an elevator, spilling out on the floor, where they're briefly encountered by Baszler, Evans, and Carmella. And this is where Corbin gets tied up in those ropes on that second floor area, that second stage that they have those ropes in the lounge area. And Brian starts doing the yes kits with Otis chanting, yes, 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 off to the side.
That was great.
And then a random Doink the Clown imposter, who I still think is the guy dating Noelle Foley, Frank.
I asked you that during the watch party, or I said something about that during the watch party. It made sense to bring him in there just to do a Doink the Clown impression.
I don't think he was trying to do a Doink the Clown impression. Well, everybody knows him as Frank the Clown.
Well, I get that, but I mean, I guess they needed somebody to do Doink the Clown.
Why do you need Doink the Clown, though?
It could have been.
And why was this guy dressed up as a clown on a Sunday hiding behind a chair?
It's Titan Towers. It's WWE. Anything can happen.
So there's a creepy clown sitting behind every chair.
I mean, there's always a boogeyman hiding somewhere.
You did not just bring up the boogeyman.
Prove me wrong.
Real simple. He's not with the WWE.
Yeah, they bring him back for special occasions.
They didn't bring him back for this.
It would have been better than Doink the Clown, I'll tell you that much.
Not 100% wrong. Not 100% wrong. No. So then the women end up in the Money in the Bank conference room. And this is where we get one of our first of many fantastic Dana Brooke moments. Dana lays out everybody. Baszler, Jax, Carmella. They all get laid out. And there's a Money in the Bank briefcase hanging over this table. She climbs up on the table, grabs the briefcase, celebrates that she's won, right? And, obviously we all know that's not the right – number one, that's not the right briefcase. Number two, it's not on the roof.
Number three, it's clear.
But there's money in it. So I'm thinking in my head, well, hey, I mean, at least you want some money kind of thing, right? Like, consolation prize? And then – say again?
I said that's a lot of money to win.
It could have been $1 bills.
Still a lot of $1 bills.
Maybe. But then a poorly edited shot of Stephanie McMahon comes in where she explains what room they're in and how Dana needs to go to the roof. And I emphasize poorly edited. Carmella grabs her a huge picture of her holding the first Money in the Bank briefcase that she wins and smashes it over Dana's head, which would take us to the food fight. Let me phrase that. They cut to Paul Heyman just sitting in a hallway eating food.
I mean, this moment, it looks like something you would do. I could set you in that position and you would do the same thing Polly did.
What, sit there and eat?
No, sit there and just like stare at the food with loving eyes and then eat. Bless you.
Thank you. No, I wouldn't. None of that looked good.
It don't matter. You set a buffet in front of you, you would look at it with loving eyes.
You know what's actually really funny though? Like, I'm super picky with what buffets I like.
It's not the point.
No, but you brought it up.
I get that, but I'm just saying, you could set a buffet of your favorite food right in front of you, and you would do exactly what Paul Heyman did. Look at it all lovingly and tender, and then just dig right in so softly.
Well, Paul didn't even really get to dig in because all 12 superstars show up. Otis looks at the food. Now, Otis grabs food and calls for a food fight. And so Baszler ends up getting the her sleeper hold on Rey Mysterio, but she breaks it right as Nia Jax and Otis sandwich Ray between their bellies. All the while, Dana Brooke is standing in the background, wide-eyed like a deer in headlights, still wearing the damn poster.
Yes!
Like, why? I mean, it's a great shot, right? Because they actually do a close-up of Dana on there, and it's fantastic. So from that moment, Nia Jax throws Carmella through the buffet table. She teases the fight with Otis before they go in their separate ways. So Otis leaves the food fight. And where does...
Food, period.
Well, no. He left the food fight and showed up for dessert at the cafeteria.
So I actually read something about Otis talking about the whole food fight scene.
Yeah.
You know, he talked about him slamming the food in Paul Heyman's face. He said there was no way for him to slam it easily into Heyman's face, even though Heyman was like, just do it.
Well, I love in that Heyman takes the food to the face at first, and then grabs the serving tray and uses it as a shield. Like, if you go back and watch it, Heyman's standing there with this thing protecting his face. But Otis ends up in the cafeteria where who will show up to share some pie with Otis? People power! John Laurinaitis on that God-blessed scooter. I'll say this. I am so glad we didn't have shows back when this scooter was a thing. I don't think I would have ever raged so much than I did back then with this damn scooter.
I raged in general over people power. I mean,
Oh, why? You don't like people power? I mean, if you really think about it, just for a moment, what we do here at HUD Radio is people power. We're for the people,
go there,
by the people, and we're fueled by the people. Our fam, our chat fuels us. They keep all this crazy shit here we do rolling. So it's just naturally people power. Yeah, I want to see you try and argue that one. Yeah, you got nothing. You ain't nothing.
I hate you sometimes.
But Otis throws a pie in Laurinaitis' face. We move to the here's the best moment by far, hands down. Obviously, we have our favorite moments, but this is the most talked about moment ever. You have AJ and Daniel Bryan. They're brawling through some offices. We know they're on the executive floor because earlier in the night, one of their random media people walked through and said, "This is the executive floor. Here's what it looks like." So you know they're on that executive floor. They're brawling, and they spill into this office. And as they're fighting, you see someone over there in the corner. He turns around. Lo and behold, it's the chairman of the board. It's the CEO. It's Vincent Kennedy McMahon in a pair of jeans.
You know, I didn't even pay attention to that.
I didn't either until Chrome said something. I had to go back and look at it. But, so they keep brawling before they realize, oh shit, we're in Vince's office. And Vince with a Batcave style office with a damn fossil of a dinosaur on the wall. Speaking
of the fossil, supposedly they wanted to do more in Vince's office and actually have Vince interact in it, but Vince said nah because he didn't want his dinosaur fossil to get broken. He was afraid something would have happened and they would have broke the damn fossil.
I mean, understandable. That's fine. Sure. But they brawl. Vince yells at them to get out. They go to leave. They stop. Come back. AJ's like, we need to fix the chairs. Fixes the chairs and leaves. And it stays on Vince where he hits the hand sanitizer and does his hand. And I think they stay there for a good 10, 15 seconds on Vince just cleaning up his hands, practicing, social distancing and all that other jazz.
I mean, hey, at least he did it right and long enough because everybody's like, man, he did that for the proper timing. He did it right. Oh, my God.
Well, that was his little shot to everybody else, that with WWE never really taking a break throughout this entire thing. Then they go outside, and Daniel and AJ have this interaction of AJ like, wow, you were really scared in there. And Daniel's like, you're the one that told me to go fix the chairs. Like, what are we doing? And then they continue their brawl. Asuka reaches the roof first. She's followed by Jax and Lacey Evans. I love that Lacey Evans is in this final three because we don't see Shayna, Carmella, or Dana Brooke for the rest of this interaction.
Nah, Dana's too busy slipping her ass on the wet floor.
Yeah, she does slip on the wet floor, which is also great.
Another
say again?
I said another great Dana Brooke moment.
Oh, yeah.
So, are we trying to beat Tyson,
Say again?
I forgot his name. Are we trying to beat the Royal Rumble slip moment between
Titus O'Neil?
Titus O'Neil, there we go.
And that was a slide. That wasn't a slip. He tripped. Dana slipped and went backwards. A trip, you fell forward. Okay. We won't go there. It's a scary place to be.
Yes, it is.
But needless to say, so Asuka briefly fights with Evans on the ladder before throwing her on top of Jax. As she ascends the ladder one more time, for some random fuck reason, Baron Corbin shows up. They brawl for a little bit on the ladder, which makes no sense. Both of you should just shut up and grab the briefcase. Asuka knocks him down, and she takes the Money in the Bank briefcase. We'll get to that in a moment. Take that, put that over here. Okay. Then, for the men, Otis reaches the roof first, and he goes to step on the ladder that's still set up for when Asuka won. And he breaks the ladder. Breaks that first step of the ladder. Right? So they're kind of saying now that there's no way for Otis to win. He'll break every ladder. We can't find a ladder strong enough to hold Otis, even though we could have found one to hold the Big Show, Mark Henry, Braun Strowman, all those other guys that are significantly heavier than Otis.
Well, if you also watch how they did it, Otis slams his foot on the rung instead of stepping on it.
Well, no, right. No, I get it. But even still, I don't think that specific ladder would hold Otis.
No, God, no.
No, you would need, and it's not a shot at Otis, right? You just would need a more heavy-duty ladder for the big man.
I was fixated that just looked like some cheap aluminum ladder.
Oh, yeah. Black, Mysterio, Styles, and Bryan all follow up. Now, so all 6 men are here, which we didn't see that with the women. We only saw the 3, right? We saw 2 Raw, 1 SmackDown. But all 6 men are here on the roof. Corbin throws Mysterio and Black over the roof onto a secondary roof below, which pissed me off to no nth degree. Because they tried...
At least they explained it this time.
Right, and they covered themselves. But I think they didn't plan on having to cover themselves. Because they were going off with the whole, oh, he threw him off the roof. He threw him off the roof kind of thing. When you can very clearly see in all their wide out shots, there's a crash pad. They're on the helipad doing this. The crash pad's below. Right? Like, I didn't like it. I hated it. So now Styles and Corbin climb the ladder. Otis is on the bottom. In shows Elias for some random reason. Not random.
I could take that back to akin of between the Elias Corbin feud and also with maybe Corbin breaking the mirror. Bad luck.
I'll give you the bad luck, and I get the feud, right? It felt really weird to have him come in and hit him with the guitar. It made sense though. It sets up for he gives it to Styles. Styles fumbles the briefcase. I almost said the football. Styles fumbles the briefcase, and it falls into Otis's hands at the bottom. And we lost it because you didn't see Otis winning. It just didn't make sense.
Especially when he couldn't climb the ladder.
Right. But so now your Money in the Bank winners are Otis for SmackDown and Asuka for Raw. However, early Monday afternoon, WWE announces that Becky Lynch has an announcement to make live on Raw. The show opens up with Becky Lynch coming out holding Asuka's Money in the Bank briefcase. And through a touching, emotional promo, Becky explains that Asuka did win Money in the Bank last night, but she did not win a contract. She opens it up to reveal that Asuka won the Raw Women's title. And why? Because Becky Lynch is pregnant. She's going to go be a mom. Apparently, I would have an article up here that says she found out early April, shortly after WrestleMania, but not shortly after. It was after Money in the Bank was filmed is when she found out and confirmed everything. That's why we really haven't seen Becky been doing much on TV since that time.
And some people are reporting that she might have been pregnant during WrestleMania.
Well, yeah. She just didn't know, right? That's a very good possibility that she was definitely pregnant during the Shayna match, had no idea, right? It happens, I guess. But then, so Becky had an interview with People magazine, and they asked her, they go, the only question she had about being a mother was it was a long time was when would it be possible? She always wanted to be a mom. She was just so career focused. So quote is, I've always wanted kids. I'm just so career focused that it became one of those things that when you're chasing a dream for so long, I always wondered, am I going to get around to it? Is it going to happen for me? She talks about Seth in this interview, how he's very focused on what the right thing to do, always looking to grow and correct himself. He's got insane work ethic, integrity, most generous, kind-hearted person. He's trying to be the best person for her and now the best father. She took several tests, nothing really. But here we go. So People asks her, will it be a return to the ring or moving on to an acting career? And she says, quote, it's just a joyous time and it's a sad time too. I love this, and I've given my life to this. I've achieved everything that I wanted to achieve in this business. I don't know what the next chapter is because I only know what it's like to think for myself when I'm by myself. So I don't know what it'll look like and how my priorities will shift and what I'm going to want in the future. So everything's open. So it's not necessarily them saying Becky's never coming back, but as we talked on Thursday, because all of Thursday was devoted to the Becky Lynch story. Which, guys, you can check out Lazy Booking Thursdays on HUD Radio. But it's going to be several years before we see Becky again. So I want to get your thoughts, Butters. I gave my thoughts on Thursday and got completely roasted for it. But I'm gonna get your thoughts. When do you see Becky coming back, and in what capacity, or does she come back?
If she comes back, I'd say the earliest would be 2022. We'll call Royal Rumble 2022. It would give her enough time. I'd say it'd give her at least, a little over a year, to kind of get her bearings, have the kid, be with the kid, and then decide from there what she wanted to do. I feel Becky loves this business enough that, yes, she'd want to make a comeback in some sort of capacity. But like I said, I could see the earliest being 2022 Royal Rumble.
Does she? So in your scenario, does she come back in a wrestling capacity at the Royal Rumble, or is she just a surprise? She's not wrestling. She just shows up.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Because in your scenario, that says she has the baby, and then immediately starts getting ring ready. Because she's doing September.
No, she's doing December.
That's what I said, December.
You said September, sir.
Did I?
Yes.
Totally meant to say December.
She's doing September, so she has the kid. I'd say that gives her the better part of a year to, decide what she wants to do, if she wants to do anything at that point. If she decides to come back, she get ring ready about, I'd say, September, October, come back to the Royal Rumble, possibly win it and go on to WrestleMania. If she comes back, she's going to come back for actual ring return and not just a one-off Royal Rumble appearance.
See, and you have her coming back the quickest. Most of us gave it 2 or 3 years. Some people even said 4 or 5. As far as her coming back. I said it on Thursday night, right? I think Becky does come back, but I think it's 2 or 3 years away. I think we'll hear from her. They may even put her on the next season of Total Divas just to keep her name out there and kind of follow this journey.
We'll hear something in some capacity, some way between now and next year. We're going to hear quite a bit about her.
Yeah.
They're not going to just give up on Becky right this instance. Oh my God, she got pregnant. She had to drop the title. We're done with her. Like this whole Roman Reigns thing. Nobody's heard. WWE refuses to speak his name right now.
But did you notice they didn't take down the picture of him in Titan Tower?
Yes, I did, but still, to my point.
But the Roman thing doesn't 100% bother me, right? Because absence makes the heart grow fonder.
They're holding grudges with the people that don't show up because.
How is it holding a grudge though?
I couldn't per se say the Roman one's holding a grudge.
Oh, please bring up the Sammy one. I want you to.
Go ahead. You we'll get to that on the SmackDown side.
Oh, no. We're here. Screw it.
I feel like they're holding a grudge with Sammy for not wanting to show up because of the whole COVID-19 situation. They gave everybody a chance to show up. They said, if you don't want to show up because of what's going on, that's fine. We won't hold it against you. And now they're going to strip him of the title. I feel like that's holding it against him.
But so in my opinion, here's why they're doing it. Because, yes, they have said we're not going to penalize anybody that doesn't want to work during this time. And they didn't penalize Roman, right? All they did was they took him off TV. They took him out of WrestleMania because he didn't want to work it, right? And you don't know when Roman's coming back. So you don't want that to be the narrative of when is Roman Reigns coming back. because you just don't know. You want people to focus on what's happening right now.
Correct.
However, with dimwit Sami Zayn, the report that's coming out is Sammy's bad-mouthing the company. Not you. Sammy's bad-mouthing the company. He's telling other superstars that they shouldn't be working, trying to get everybody to stop working. Like, he's doing things that are, what's the word I'm looking for here? That aren't helping him at all.
And I haven't heard any of that. And I'm constantly on looking at the news, looking at what's going on. I haven't heard any of that. All I see is, oh, hey, Sammy's not going to be able to show up and defend his title. We're stripping him of it. Okay, cool. Where was that when Brock had the title? Where was that when Dean?
But here's the other thing. Here's the other side to that. Brock wouldn't wrestle because Brock just didn't want to wrestle, and that was part of his contract. He didn't have to wrestle. Right? He could be champion, go away for a little bit, show up every couple of months, but Paul was still coming around and keeping him relevant. Right? So that was fine. Not ideal, but that was fine.
He still wasn't defending it,
Right, but they're not stripping Sammy because he can't defend it. And here's the other thing. Sammy won't defend it because Sammy doesn't want to work. You have somebody that's a champion in your company that's saying, I don't feel comfortable working until all this passes over. That's fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. However, you can't blame WWE for saying, hey, you have our title. We don't want our title fading out into obscurity.
They're already doing that on their own.
Right, they are. But this gives them a chance to bring it back, revitalize the title, everything like that. Right? Because we don't know. But we don't know what their plans were after Sammy finished up.
Yeah.
Right? You don't.
I mean, look at Jordan Devlin. He can't defend his because he's stuck in the UK.
Right. So they had to pull the title off of him.
They didn't pull it off. They're just doing an interim champion.
Right. And Prism hits the nail on the head. His actions are becoming detrimental in his standings with the company. Absolutely. Right? All he's doing is shoot himself in the foot. And we know per conversations that Kevin Owens has done and even Sammy, that's just who he is, right? He's very outspoken. He's very, for lack of a better phrase, annoying. Right? But that's because he chooses to be.
Yeah.
And so to say that, hey, they're doing Sammy wrong, they're punishing Sammy, no, not at all. They're protecting the industry, not the industry. They're protecting their title. Right? Because you still see Andrade. He may not defend it, but we still see the U.S. title. It's still a conversation piece. Just like the Intercontinental title is still a conversation piece. Right? They weren't expecting Sammy to turn around and say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable wrestling. Or I don't think they would have put the title on Sammy.
I feel like they could have done the same with, as they did with Devlin, just, interim champion until he gets back, and then they could do something with the two. But, I mean, to just completely strip it of him, like I said, I ain't heard nothing about, how Sammy's been acting here lately, so.
But if Sammy, let's say the report is true, right? Because I've only seen it reported one place, and I can't remember where it was. Let's say that report is absolute 100% real life fact. And he is going around saying those things. Then, yeah, you strip the title off of him. You absolutely do. Because what's to say you want him to come back and be champion? Don't reward that kind of behavior. Because WWE gave you an out. WWE turned around and said, hey, you know what? If you don't want to wrestle, if you don't want to perform with everything going on, no hard feelings. You can go home. Everything's fine. They gave you that opportunity, and you turn around and badmouth them publicly, right? With the tweet of saying how he doesn't support this decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're going around saying to other employees within the company, hey, don't work here. We shouldn't be working for a company that's making us come to work. Blah, blah, blah. What? My company makes me come to work right now. I sell cars. Shut up. Show up, do your job, and go home. You know what I mean? Like that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And just turn around and say, "Oh, Sammy's being punished." Fuck off.
I was gonna say that's what I think. I was trying to look up what you were talking about, and the only thing I could see was that place saying, according to sources, the feeling is that Sammy was stripped of the IC title to send a message to the superstars.
Who's reporting that?
Sports Skeeta.
Bite me. I don't see. Send a message. What message are you sending? That we're completely backpedaling everything we just talked about? I don't buy it.
Let's see. It says WWE always say that wrestlers can take time off and not worry about their spot, and that certainly would apply to a top star like Roman. But for others, that is not a guarantee, and wrestlers in their mid and lower cards certainly took notice.
I don't buy into that at all. I really don't.
Yeah.
But it did set up an Intercontinental Championship tournament. The bracket was released last night on SmackDown with 2 matches taking place. Daniel Bryan went over Drew Gulak, and Elias went over King Corbin. Still to come is Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus, and Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles.
So you have SmackDown, and one Raw.
Right.
Which kind of, and it's also a title that's eluded AJ. So could we potentially see AJ winning this title?
I wouldn't hate this. I don't hate anybody winning this title in this bracket right now. Even Baron Corbin. It doesn't bother me if Baron wins it, right?
I wish they would have just put Cesaro in there, and that could have been another interesting one.
Correct.
Because instead of having Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak, why not have Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro?
That would have been a great match. But see, then I want both to win, and that just can't happen in this format.
Do what?
I would want both to win, and that just can't happen during this format.
Exactly.
But think about it. In this format, let's look at what you could have. Right? Let's just say Jeff Hardy goes over Sheamus. Now you have Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, which is something I don't think we've ever seen. I don't think anybody's ever seen it.
No, I don't think.
Let's just say we know AJ's going to go over Elias.
Correct.
Right? So now you're going to have AJ versus Elias, which will be a good match because Elias is a great wrestler. But if Daniel Bryan goes over Jeff Hardy and AJ goes over Elias, we would get Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title. Eddie chiming in over there on YouTube. The difference between Jordan Devlin and Sami Zayn is Jordan Devlin cannot go to work because of the lockdown in the UK, and Sami doesn't want to go to work. He hit the nail on the head. Sami doesn't want to go to work, but it's also Sami is, and to Prism's point, not doing anything to behoove him in any form or fashion. Right? You could get Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, though, for the Intercontinental title in an empty arena where the matches have been really good.
See, and that's the thing is because you're not distracted. The matches are good also because you're not distracted by the fans. The fans are taken out of the picture, and you can actually sit there and watch without going, I don't want to watch this. Because sometimes the fans can kind of dictate whether or not you want to watch a match.
And yeah, exactly. They've killed matches. They've taken great matches and killed them. I
could mute the TV and sit there and watch a match, and then go back, rewind it and watch it with the crowd noise, and the crowd could just absolutely kill it, like you said. Yeah, it gives you two different feels. When you watch it, when you just watch it, you don't listen to anything. You're not listening to commentary. That's another thing. That's another level to it. The match hits one way. But then when you add all the other sounds back in, it hits a totally different way. But in this week you have, so here's what I don't understand. And as we've been talking, though, I think I've kind of answered my own question or come up with my own theory. Baron Corbin is going to fight Drew McIntyre this Monday on Raw. Mm-hmm.
And AJ Styles is obviously in the SmackDown tournament. Do you think because of the limited rosters, WWE has had to go to Fox and USA and go, look, I know we promised you exclusive rosters, but with everything going on, we don't have enough people to.
So what I've heard about that and what I've read, it was actually both Fox and USA going to WWE and saying, hey, can we, mix and match for a while? So they come up with an updated version of the wild card rule, which was set on SmackDown on Friday. So this update is the superstars can go cross-brand to different shows 4 times a year. Each superstar has basically four
free passes.
4 free passes to go from SmackDown to Raw back and forth, which Charlotte is used up this week and next week. There's 2 of hers right there. 1, 2. So she's got 2 more appearances left onto the SmackDown brand because she's technically a Raw superstar, which confuses a lot of people because she's a Raw superstar with the NXT title going to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. I don't know anymore. So for AJ, if AJ ends up winning the Intercontinental, going to the finals of this tournament, he would have used up 3. Am I listening to that right?
Yes. And what they could do with that is, and they could go and say, well, since AJ is the new Intercontinental Champion, maybe he'll be a permanent SmackDown change. We can use some of those leftover draft picks.
You're still on those draft picks bit, aren't you?
I'm throwing that in there to make they could make their excuse to move AJ over to SmackDown.
Okay.
Give him the IC title. Oh, well, he's the new champion. We'll just do some draft picks, move people around, and you no longer have to have to worry about the wild card rule.
Yeah.
Wild card 2.0 is a sense.
Fair enough. I don't hate it. I don't like it, but it kind of right in the middle for me.
It shakes things up, and it's, like I said, it's what Fox and USA wanted. They just they wanted to see if it'll pick up the ratings. Let's cross-brand some superstars. Let's do it this way and see what happens.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. But I understand that desperate times call for desperate measures right now, and I'm okay with it. I'm giving WWE a lot of free passes right now with some of the stuff they're doing. Because
I'll give it a little bit of time to see what they do with this, with this whole crossover thing. I'll give it some time before I make my final go. I love it. I hate it. I don't, I'm on the fence.
Like I just touched on, I'm giving them a lot of free passes because I get that this is not an easy time right now.
No.
Right? Like if something doesn't hit the right way, all right, I'm not going to bury them for it. I'm going to hate on it, but I'm not going to bury them for it because I understand you're working with what you're given now.
And at least they're actually trying this time. They're going to try something new, or they're going to try to, keep furthering along because they can't tell whether the crowd likes it. They can't tell whether the crowd hates it.
Right. There's going to be a lot of trial and error.
And all they got to go on is
aftermath reaction.
Well, that and social media. I mean, you can't go off social media. Social media is so toxic.
But so can a crowd.
This is true, but at least you got that crowd right there.
Right. No, so you have to take social media, but you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into Undertaker, The Last Ride. For anybody that knows me, this is something that I have been wanting for years. We've pulled the curtain back on Triple H. We've pulled the curtain back on Edge, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, Batista, The Rock, Stone Cold, Ric Flair, all these names. But there's one name that has never been highlighted like this before. It is the man from Death Valley. It is the Phenom, the Dead Man, the American Badass, the Graveyard Digger himself, The Undertaker. So Undertaker Last Ride is a 5-part series that started last week. Huh?
I said I thought it was less than that. I thought it was going to be like 3 parts.
No, it's 5. It started last week and it'll go for the next 5 Sundays, taking place on the WWE Network.
You know, and I just watched it today, so and it's nice and fresh in me, and just sitting there watching it, it's like it had me captivated, it had me, going, and it's just like some of the things you hear and see and that they talk about, and you're just like.
And so let before we get into our thoughts on it, let's kind of break down what it is, right? It follows the Undertaker's career from 2017 to 2020. It starts about 3 days before WrestleMania 33 and his match with Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. He contacted Vince and told him, let someone, follow me this weekend. Because the thought process is that this was supposed to be The Undertaker's last match.
And then, as you said earlier, it's a rare, it was that rare instance of The Undertaker actually opening up and letting somebody,
letting somebody in.
Yeah. Because that's something you never see with The Undertaker.
Right. And so he talks about, and you say it's so captivating. The first 12 minutes, first 13 minutes, you sit there and you watch it. They give you so much. And it's so powerful, so impactful that I'm like, damn, how long? Like today I rewatched it before the show came on. And I was like, damn, how long was that? And I looked and I was only like 13 or so minutes in. And I'm like, holy shit, I still have another 45 minutes of this to go.
I should say, an hour long, you're thinking, man, it's a long time. But then as you watch it, it's just like the hour doesn't seem that long.
Well, it seems longer because it's, and I've said it, in private groups and public messages and things like that. If you've ever watched The Arrow, the TV show The Arrow, it feels so much longer than an hour-long show because they gave you so much.
Yep.
Right, and that's what they do here. Undertaker talks about how he would get ready for WrestleMania, have the WrestleMania match, have a surgery to fix whatever was bothering him gearing up for WrestleMania, and then as soon as he was done rehab, start getting ready for next year's WrestleMania. I have a quote here that talks about the streak and why it's so important. This says, the streak is what made it okay for me to work once a year because I had to defend the streak. It takes its toll. I had a 5-year stretch where my schedule would be, I'd prepare for Mania, I'd have my Mania match, then I'd have some kind of surgery to repair whatever had been bothering me from going into that match, then go straight from rehab right into training to be ready for Mania again. And obviously that's what I just recapped, right? But
yeah,
the streak itself is what made it okay to work once a year. But he had to put his body through hell. And Triple H, in that moment, says it is a lot to work only once or twice a year. It takes more effort to work once or twice than it does to work every night. Because as Austin says in there, your body gets used to it. You're almost immune to it being on the road, always taking those bumps and everything like that. You build up an immunity. But once you walk away and you start only working once or twice a year, it becomes a lot more painful.
Yep.
What did you think about when The Undertaker talks about, because they go back to WrestleMania 30 and they build up to WrestleMania 33 throughout this episode. When Undertaker talks about WrestleMania 30 and how, quote, I'm not sure when I got concussed. I don't know how that match happened. I have no recollection of any of that. My memory of that day was, my last memory of that day was about, I'd say 3:30 in the afternoon.
I knew about the concussion. What I didn't realize is that when he said what you said right there was his earliest memory was about 3:30 in that afternoon. He didn't remember the rest of the whole rest of the time. I'm just like,
and then to hear Michelle, his wife, talk about, so they put him in the ambulance and they rush him off to the hospital. And as soon as they get out of the ambulance, there's this black SUV that pulls up right behind the ambulance. And who gets out but Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar? Both came straight from the arena Follow
With
the ambulance.
WrestleMania still
With
going on.
WrestleMania still going on.
That
Vince
tells you
left.
That tells you right there as to how much Vince truly cares about Undertaker, but also about his superstars.
Yeah, like
To leave a show, for him to leave a show like WrestleMania. Yes, I understand he's got Triple H, he's got Stephanie, he's got his producers, but to leave a show like WrestleMania because one of your superstars is injured that bad, that tells you right there as to how much Vince truly cares, even though everybody can put on that Vince is an asshole. Right there shows the true heart of Vince McMahon.
Well, and when he leaves, they still have actually I don't think this is right, but Daniel Bryan hasn't won the title at that point yet.
No. They probably still had like what, a good 3 or 4 matches left at that point?
I think so. So that match happens. Then there's a 14 Diva Vicky Guerrero Divas Invitational. Then the Daniel Bryan match happens. So there's still half an hour to 45 minutes left. Give promos left of WrestleMania. So almost an hour left in Mania. And Vince left. Vince doesn't see the miracle on Bourbon Street happen. He's at the hospital. Michelle also reveals that he was trying to cheat while in the hospital. Nurses would come and go, "What's your name?" And he would ask me, "What's my name again?" He was so severely concussed, he didn't know his name. He didn't know where we were. He didn't know why we were in New Orleans. He didn't figure out his name until 4 a.m. That's terrifying.
That's what, over 24 hours of
12 hours.
Huh?
That's 12 hours.
No. I'm talking about, he said he doesn't remember anything from 3:30 that afternoon.
Right. To 4 o'clock is 12 hours.
That's right. You said 4 a.m. I thought you said 4 p.m. Sorry.
No, I said 4 a.m. That's why I was really confused. Like, what the hell you were doing?
Okay. You're right. 12 hours. That's still a long time.
It really is. And that's so scary. Like 12 hours of your life just gone.
Never going to get it back.
You're not. I mean, and even if it wasn't all 12 hours, right? You don't know. Let's just say you can't remember. Let's say he picks up his memory back up at midnight, right? Or even 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's 7 hours of your life just gone.
Even not remembering an hour is, that's still a long time to not remember.
And how badly it affected him, that it destroys his confidence. And even leading, go ahead.
He even explained in there, if it wasn't good enough for him, for the fans, for Vince, he didn't want to, it wasn't good enough for him. So,
yeah.
And he didn't want to go out there if it wasn't going to be good enough.
Because there's some younger guy that could be on that card.
Yeah.
And then so you fast forward to his match with Bray Wyatt at 31. His confidence gone. Not sure he's going to actually be able to go back out there and do this. Was this a mistake? Should he have done it? And who walks up to him other than Triple H? Right before he goes out, because Triple H knows something's off. And says, "Show them who the fuck you are. Fuck last year. Kill this thing."
Yep.
Like, those two are the last of that generation, the last of that era. Still there, still running and gunning and being part of it. And Undertaker comes back after the match, a different man, to where he actually goes on and works 6 more matches in 2015. I didn't think about that, how much he worked after.
It's crazy to see how after that Brock match, you wouldn't think that, he would work as much, but after that match, he's still running and gunning. Like you said, he's still working.
Most definitely.
The man's a workhorse, and the man's gonna. I hate to say it, but I feel like the man's gonna end up just passing away in the ring.
No. Not now. Not at this point. I don't think so.
I'm just saying, it just the way he's going, the way he wants to,
But look But look at 2015 was a great year for The Undertaker. 32 wasn't a bad year either.
No.
33, he turns out he's not ready for 33. And you kind of see glimpses of that where he's getting that shot to the knee before and then after he's in the trainers.
That shot made me cringe, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. No, needles, no. But like that was the whole montage where Jericho's there and Jericho realizes there's a camera crew and goes, "Oh my God, it's really ending." Right?
And you also see that build up to that match that eventually at some point before the match, he's got some pillow or something attached to his hip.
I think it was an ice pack, maybe.
That was a huge ass ice pack.
Well, I mean, he's a big dude.
This is true.
The pillow doesn't make sense to me. The ice pack does.
Yeah, but I'm just like, man. This is really. He's really getting there. So I mean. And
his interactions with Roman and his wife, leading up to it, especially like first 5 or so minutes, he goes, "You can't even kayfabe for 10 minutes." And Roman goes, "Screw your camera crew." You know, his interactions with the legends and being backstage at Hall of Fame and all that other stuff, it really lets you see who Mark Calloway is.
Yeah.
As a person. And this whole thing shows you, like, Mark Calloway is professional wrestling.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I said earlier, you don't get to see that much.
You never get to see that.
Because he truly takes that, kayfabe to home with him, really.
He did for years. And over the last couple of years, he's kind of pulled those reins back a little bit, pulled the curtain back a little bit.
And that really shows his true passion for wrestling.
It really does. And then Undertaker loses to Roman. He gets up, puts his gear back on, and then takes it off and leaves it in the ring.
And I watched that
Ghost.
I watched that WrestleMania, and it was just like, is he really done? I mean, is this, watching him drop that gear just like, oh my God.
Yeah, like we were doing the shows back then on just Facebook. We weren't part of HUD at that point. We did a live reaction for it, and I'll have to go back and figure out the time code and tell you to go watch it. But it was me, Jax, Chef, Silent Hill, all personalities that have been on In This Very Ring at some form or fashion over time. We were all sitting there going, "Oh my God, it's over." And like, it was emotional for me because Undertaker's always been my guy. Yeah. Right. Like I'm an Undertaker fan through and through. I really am. And I don't know what it is about it, but I forget the fact that this is just a guy acting a role. Right. Prism chiming in. Bray should have been booked as the new Taker and had his own streak. If the streak was ever going to end, he passes it on to Bray. That's an interesting thought. I'd like to go back and think that we thought Bray was going to be the new Undertaker. We really did.
Honestly, to be quite honest, I get it, Brock, being the one to take the streak, but I felt like it should have gone to a different superstar, somebody more up and coming that would be the one, like Bray Wyatt or Roman Reigns could be the
or even Alistair.
Yep.
But see, here's the thing. So we always talk about how Ric Flair is a 16-time world champion, and John Cena now is a 16-time world champion. But it took Cena 20, 30 years to be a 16-time world champion. Well, it happened after Flair, right? 20, 30 years after Flair did it. We won't see another streak anytime soon.
I don't think, honestly, we'll ever see another streak.
I think in my heart of hearts, I'd like to think that in years down the road, we will. But it might be well after you and I are long gone.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I said, we won't see another streak.
Yeah. But and we're gonna see this in the next episode, how Undertaker watches back WrestleMania, and they show you bits and pieces of it in this one, right? But he watches back WrestleMania 33 and he goes, wow, that's not how I want to go out. That match was horrible. For him, for his standards, right? And to see him come out of the ring at 33, stop, pivot, go kiss Michelle. Like, that was his way of telling the fans, yeah, this is really it. I just broke character on WrestleMania.
Broke character at WrestleMania while the cameras are rolling. Everybody begins watching. I mean, if that isn't the biggest I'm done in the world, then I'm done.
But what got me from an emotion, because this was, I won't lie, this was a pretty, it could be looked at as a pretty emotional moment, right? This whole thing, right? And for Undertaker to come down from underneath the ramp and go back towards the backstage area, and who's waiting for him but Triple H? Like, Triple H is the first guy he sees. Like, that was emotional for me for some reason. I don't know why, but like, I got emotional in the sense of like, oh, you bastards. Like, you're pulling on the strings here for this one, because that's friendship, that's camaraderie, that's understanding that we're the old guys and we got to stick together. But knowing what Triple H says to him at 31, and here's the Ralph chime in. Ralph, I think Ralph's an Undertaker mark, only because it's the one wrestler he truly knows. But, and I love Ralph, I really do. You can check Ralph out on The Fix with Ryan Brodo and Frank Vespi, who I hear a rumor that Frank Vespi's actually hanging out with us right now. Him and Brodo tagged in, so we thank Frank for jumping in and tagging up with us right now. You can check the three of those gentlemen out every Wednesday night on The Fix here at A2D Radio. But it was just, Frank, you're welcome.
What? No hashtag Frank? Jeez.
Let him be. This is the guy that does our graphics. Don't poke the bear. Don't do it.
What? You don't want to get thrown off the cell again?
No, I don't. But no, it's literally, it was so emotional in that regard. Don't poke me. I'm the captain. Okay. Okay, Frank. He just said don't poke him, damn it. But it was so emotional. Like, words couldn't even describe that first chapter. Like, I watched it and I'm like, oh my God. It's nothing like I thought it would be. And I'm not watching The Last Dance right now with the Michael Jordan documentary over on ESPN. I hope, if Ralph, you're still here, see if this is the same vibe you get. Watching this Undertaker The Last Ride documentary, you take arguably the greatest overall performer, athlete, character, personality, aura that is the Undertaker, and you're pulling it back layer by layer, and you're showing him the man that he was, the struggles that he went through, the challenges that he's overcoming, but also the passion and the dedication that he has for an industry that is really all he ever wanted to do with his life. So I have to assume it's not a coincidence that WWE is putting this up right around the same time that The Last Dance is going on.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for Chapter 2 that'll drop tomorrow. So the rumor is that it's going to drop in the morning, like it did last week. Like people actually saw it before Money in the Bank because WWE put it on the network first thing in the morning. Eddie chiming in, The Fiend will retire The Undertaker. If I'm Booker, I'll book Wyatt. Say people say he the next Undertaker but cannot beat him. Say he should put the mask on the line and Undertaker put the career on the line. I don't see it going that way. I think the Boneyard match was the last time we're going to see The Undertaker. Because every time they've said, my last match, they cut to the Boneyard match. Right? They show that clip of him on the motorcycle at the end of the match. But so it might drop midnight, it may drop 3 a.m., it may drop first thing in the morning, which would be fantastic if it does.
Could drop 5 minutes from now. I highly doubt it, but still.
That'd be great. That'd be a great way to cap off the week. But I'm super excited for it. Like, it's gonna have me on the edge of my seat. This would be one if they actually came out with a DVD of it, of all 5 parts together. I'd buy it.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty good on a DVD. I mean, we used to have all those documentaries on DVD, but now of course we get them on the network.
I used to have the Ric Flair one. That one was good. You have a favorite documentary? Let's take this one out of it. Do you have a favorite wrestling documentary?
To be quite honest, I think the Undertaker one's probably the first one I've actually really seen.
Really? You need to go on the network because you have the network, right?
Yes.
You need to go on the network. They have some of their documentaries on there. The Ric Flair one's great.
How recent is the Ric Flair though?
It was released right after his retirement from WWE because on the DVD you actually had the full unedited retirement where you got to see Undertaker come out and Vince come out and everything like that. The stuff that happened after Raw went off the air.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's that one's a great one. We see Prism says Wrestling with Shadows is really good. Dark Side of the Ring's been one of my favorites, and I know that's Chrome. Like, that's Chrome's thing that he wants to talk about. But I
want to get into watching those. I keep seeing how good they are.
You need to go on Vice. Vice's YouTube. Mm-hmm. They have this season up there for free.
Okay. See, and that's what I've been seeing clips of those, and I'm just like, I
would have to say this season, and I didn't watch last season, but I've read what last season's about. This season's had more compelling stories. They start with Chris Benoit. They talk about Brawl for All. They talk about Jimmy Snuka, and they're ending Tuesday night's season finale is Owen Hart.
I want to know how they got that.
I do too. And because reports are coming out of because they got his wife to sit in front of a camera and talk about what happened after Owen died. That's gonna stir. If what I'm reading is true, and granted, I think Martha is just a bitter old woman. I'm not a Martha Hart fan. I'm not. But if what she said is true, and she did Jericho's podcast. I think that's the report I'm reading. It's not about Dark Side of the Ring. It's about Jericho's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I might actually add that to my list of things to listen to before Tuesday. But if that's all true, what she talks about, it's going to make a lot of people look bad. It's going to be good, but it's going to be bad for a lot of people.
Bad.
But Butters, my brother, we had a great show today. We talked Money in the Bank. We talked Becky Lynch. We talked about Undertaker, The Last Ride. And we even touched a little bit on Dark Side of the Ring. Guys, we appreciate you joining us. Make sure you check out all the shows here at HD Radio. We got Agree to Disagree tomorrow. We've got Sport Towns on Monday. Tuesday is Birds of a Feather. Wednesday is The Fix and AM and the PM. Not sure if we're doing a combined show again. Fix in the PM. I'm going to keep saying it until it sticks. Thursday is a programming alert. Thursday, Hockey Happy Hour will be going live at about 6:30, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. They're going to be the early show because at 9:30 Eastern Time, live on HUD Radio, the world's most dangerous man, the former Intercontinental Champion. Ow. Hold on. Oh, I hurt my throat on that one. Oh. Ken Shamrock joins Lazy Booking at 9:30. He's going to talk about his WWE career, his MMA career, his career at TNA, and his new book, Shamrock, coming out very soon. No shows here on Friday, and then next week, we're going to be back. Saturday starts with the weekly roundup with Jake Friel, Steven Reichel, and occasionally Tom Arnone. And then us, in this very ring, we'll be back live next week here on HUD Radio to bring you all your latest and greatest wrestling news of the week. Guys, we got to thank our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. You can check them out on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. Also, the gutter guys over at Ambuck Services, gutter and deck experts of South Philly. You can check them out at 856-879-5530. And also QB54, the best tailgating game out there. If you use the code, I believe it's No Notes, you get 10% off, I think it is. Is the code No Notes or is it HUD Radio, Frank? We're going to patiently wait for Frank to remind me on that one. But I believe the website is playqb54.com as well. You'd think I'd have that one down by now. But guys,
down by now, but still, you know.
Say what?
I said you think you'd have a lot of stuff down by now, but
hey, shut up. And it is No Notes. I believe it's actually hashtag No Notes for that. Thank you, Mr. Vespi. Guys, we will see you. The promo code is No Notes and it's 20% off. And the website is playqb54.com. I was trying to do it without looking at my note. Obviously, that didn't work out very well. Guys, for Butters, I'm Rich. As always, we thank Mr. Ryan Brodo for getting us to the halfway point, and Mr. Frank Vespi for tagging in with that hot tag and bringing us on home. Guys, we'll see you next week right here on In This Very Ring, live on HUD Radio.